Welcome back to Friday News Wrap Up. I see there's a few people online. I was a little late getting my thumbnail out this morning, and one of our subscribers sent an email and said, "Hey, is Mr. Fix-It going to get up and give the news?" So I realized I was in the middle of having a coffee and discussing things with my good wife. We were actually, I'll spill the beans a little bit here. We got tied up in working on a new platform for our channel, a brand new platform. And it seems like, pardon me? A new concept. Yeah, the platform's the same. It's YouTube and everything. So it's a new concept, but the concept has been there. It's just been growing on its own. The concept's been growing, and I'll show you what I mean. Let me see if I have it here. Just share my screen with you. There we go. So there's when you go to our home screen, this is what you'll see, kind of a new look. Fixing My Faith. You notice it says ExJW TV. So that's what this is turning into on its own. It's kind of a TV channel. When you get emails saying, "Hey, are you going to show up for your live news, whatever you do on Friday? We're waiting for you." So what the community, what's happening here in this community is we're growing. The community is growing, and so we got to grow with it. I hate to throw out numbers, but I think this community could grow to 1 million subscribers once the snowball effect happens. Right now, we see a small domino effect happening. And we talked about Lithuania. Thank you to you guys out there for helping me to say that right. Lithuania. O in there, not a U. But they put a U in there, but I tend to look at things phonically. And I couldn't really read until I was in grade 3, blah, blah, blah. Not a bad hard luck story. I had a good life. Grew up on a farm. I was in grade 2. Kid was swinging a thing around. Had a nail in it, a board. This happened in, it's kind of news. You guys, I've never told you guys this story. But I was in grade 2. I got into grade 1. Farm kid, right? I grew up on the farm. That was back in 1963 when I grew up. Long time ago. So anyways, we grew up on this farm. Loved the farm. We're on a little farm right now. And that sticks with you. Once you're a farm boy, you're always a farm boy, it seems like. Yeah, I got into school. I didn't know what the anthem was. Oh, Canada. I didn't know how to do the numbers. What are these? It was like looking at a foreign language on the blackboard. ABCs? What the heck is the ABCs? I knew nothing except all the swear words my mom taught me. But anyways, that's how I grew up. To make it worse, like compound the issues, I go out and I'm playing on the playground, and this kid's swinging a board around and it had a nail in it. And we're all trying to get him. Everyone's trying to get this kid, right? It was a game. And I got it, all right. I got that nail in that board in my head. And the next thing I knew, when I woke up, I was in grade 3. I don't know what happened. I woke up, I was looking up, and there's all these people. But anyways, it was grade 3, and the teacher was looking at me, and she brought me over to the principal's office to give me a strap because I couldn't read. And so grade 3, my mom and dad brought me down to my great aunt's place. She was a Catholic nun. And guess what? She taught in the residential schools. She was a school teacher. And she was like old. To me, she was really old. She was ancient. I was just this little kid, right? But she was my age, in her 60s. And here she's got this little kid, and he can't read. And so she taught me to read from her Bible, her Catholic Bible. She started, and that was like, you talk about Greek, that was Greek. But she had me read this scripture that says the scriptures have power. I'll never forget it. And then she taught me to read in a newspaper phonically. And so my aunt taught me phonically. So when I look at words, I see the U's, Lithuania. I read it phonically. And I thank you guys out there for being patient with me. There you have my sob story. It's not much of a sob story, but that's, it's how you learn things. And when you're a Jehovah's Witness and what you learn from birth up, that's ingrained in you. Now, most Jehovah's Witnesses do a lot of reading, and they're actually quite literate. Jehovah's Witness children. They appear to be very educated, but through all of this, we're all getting indoctrinated. And is that by chance, or is that by choice, or is that we're born into it? For a lot of you guys out there, you're born into it, and I feel for you. I want to say hi to everyone online, and then I'm going to show you. I didn't even present the screen a little bit. I better throw that back up there and show you what's going on here on the channel. And then I'll say hi to everyone. So this is a little bit excited. I got excited. We threw this idea out, and it's already here. It's already taken place. So we might as well just call it what it is: Fixing My Faith, ExJW TV. This is a TV channel, folks, and it's a platform for you guys to come on. And what's happening with this platform? It's not just us. Let's take a look at some of the playlists here. Everything's in a playlist. And you come onto our homepage, and we can start with, we can show you right here. Here's what happens each week. So each week there's a live during the week. You should be able to see it through all these playlists. Well, here, I'll go into the live. That's where I was looking at it. So right here on the live, you just hit lives and you'll see them. So on Mondays, we do right here, we cover the Elders book. So for all you guys out there that want to know a little bit more about the Elders book, in fact, this came up on our live last night, face to face. That's another one. It's a brand new episode, I guess, if you want, a brand new live on this channel. So Confidential Elders book, that's not I come on live. You can talk through the chat. We are looking at a new platform where you can actually raise your hand or something to communicate if you're online. So this is coming. There's new things that we're looking at. So then on Tuesday we have Joe and Fran, his story. This is what this program's called. It's it's in the morning, 9 a.m. our time, 7 a.m. or 11 a.m. New York time. And then Joe and Fran, again, they're doing the outside story. This is in the evening. This is where people come on and they can talk, share their stories. And they've been talking about paradise. That's been a big part of the topic, paradise, the apostate paradise. So you'll want to come on to that show and see what that's all about. That's on Wednesday evenings. And that show usually goes 3 or 4 hours. So a lot of people come in halfway through, whatever. Then on Thursdays, this is a brand new live face-to-face. And face-to-face is designed to give you guys a platform. We're pulling in guest speakers, watchtower type people. I don't know if we'll get any more of those. But anybody that wants to come online, if you're watching this live and you're actually a Jehovah's Witness and you want to defend, you have a good point, and you want to defend the organization, and then the ExJWs will come on and they will say what they want to say. Everyone gets a fair platform. Look at how it was handled last night. It was a great show last night. If you haven't seen that one, you'll want to see it. That's a show I'll be making some future videos about. Now, today is Friday, so it's new. It's our news wrap-up Friday. This is what we're doing on Fridays, and just kind of giving you a summary of some of the news throughout the week. So there's other things happening on this. Now, I take a break on the weekends. Now, I never take a break. If you want to see what I'm doing, you'll have to join the channel. It's a way of luring you in, but really it's for our members. And there's behind the scenes, what I'm doing, how a creator functions, I guess, things like that. And, you'll catch me playing with the dog, going for a walk. I don't know. Or just sitting thinking or making a movie. You'll see the studio. A lot of people want to see what's behind me. Is it really just a brick wall? Well, you'll have to join the club if you really want to see what's going on behind scenes. And that's what that's about. It's a little perk for those ones. Sometimes we release poems. Some of the poetry doesn't leave that channel. You guys never see it. Some of my inner thoughts, I run it across the channel members. These are the ones that are really interested in the channel. They're supporting it. So some of the stuff doesn't fly. I'll never air it. But on the channel members, they get a chance to see what's working, how we tick, how we think. Okay, moving forward. So I want to show you this. This I think is really interesting. If we go to the videos here. Now there's a program, it was featured here. I missed it. It's called right here, the way forward. This is right here. It's for ExJWs. This was done by a podcast done by one of the channel members, and that's a program you want to watch. And her husband, they did that together, Madeline and Christiane, and they did an excellent job. Christiane's a psychologist, works in that field anyways, and they talk about how they work and how they've worked together. And they talked about how coming out of the JW religion is like being an immigrant into the world. When we're a JW, we looked at the world as wicked, right? An evil place. And this indoctrination's in our minds. So there's a way of getting rid of that indoctrination. It's simply by learning. And when we learn about ourselves, and they have an excellent way of teaching, I think this is going to be a program that will stick around for a long time. So that's on Saturdays. It goes up as a premiere. It's like a live. You can come on and chat with the creator of that movie, of that podcast. And so we got thinking, well, this opens up other ones. And we had an email from another creator that actually has 1,000 people on his channel, but wants to get his movies on our channel. So we thought, why not make another spot for him to do the same thing? He can premiere his movies, and we can share share revenues. We want to make a music section, a book section. What we're finding, and psychology is saying this to us, people that have been trapped in a cult and their minds have been trapped in it for years and years, when they let their minds free, their minds just blossom and all kinds of things come out, inventions, creations, or artists. People start drawing, people start writing stories, people start singing, people start doing all kinds of things. So we want to give everyone a chance to share their art. Maybe it takes a long time to get a channel going and a lot of work. So this is a platform you can get your art out, and we can share it with the world. And YouTube's really good because it keeps track of how you monetize on each video, so that the monetization can be shared. Not like Watchtower, where you'll go dedicate your life to Watchtower, make movies, and build Watchtower's empire. No, that's not what this is about. This is a platform to help you guys get your talents out. If you have a message you want to say to the world, this is a chance to get it out. Maybe you only have 1 or 2 or 3 videos. And all you have to do is send my good wife an email. And their emails are easy to find. It's on our channel. Okay, so that's what we introduced with. We're going to look at everyone. Hi, hello, K. Fred. K. Fred, San Diego Pimo. Wildwall. Wildwall. I like that name. Wildwall. Don't get wild up against the wall. Oh, talk about a lot. Okay, hello, K. Fred. Keith Silver. Good afternoon. And Shack Composer. Where are you at? Right there. Shack Composer. There we go. We got everyone. Oh, the dude. Hello, the dude. Good afternoon. And Marge Tess. Good afternoon. Black Falls. Wow. I used to live in Red Deer. I actually got baptized in Red Deer. Black Falls is just north of Red Deer, just a little bit. That was one of my territories, actually, in Red Deer. But yeah, interesting. Keith Silver. Jay. Hello, Jay. Good afternoon. And who else? Canadian Anglican. Sorry. I said Angelica last time. Sorry. Canadian Anglican. Thanks for joining us. You can help us with the scriptures. A lot of us ExJWs were lost. We get out of the org and we're confused. We don't know what to do. We used to think, or some of us still may think, that only the heavens locked up, only 144,000 can get there. And I think Canadian Anglican knows that heaven's a big place. Everyone has the opportunity, I think. You know, life is like that. You can focus where you want to go. Do you want to live on earth? Yeah. Most likely you'll die and come back to earth and do another run at it. That's what you want, right? How long do you want to do? You want to play that game for 1,000 years? Well, you live 60, 70 years. You know, if you want to mix a little astrology in there, well, there's 12 zodiacs. So if you do 60, 70 years in each zodiac sign, you know, you're born, that's 1,000 years. You do 1,000 years on earth, you lived all the zodiac signs, you've become a real human being. Now you want to get the hell out. Let's go somewhere else. You know, people you can make all kinds of things with spirituality. Do we really know what's going to happen, what's not going to happen? I know I'm going to die eventually. What do you really know? Who's really come back and walked with us? You know, we get all these experiences. Oh yeah, I died in the hospital for whatever, 5 minutes, came back and I went to heaven and back. I wrote a book, To Heaven and Back. You know, yeah, it was a lot of dreams. It took me 6 months to write the book. And how you write when you're a Jehovah's Witness and your brain's just locked up solid with all these chains. You start undoing this padlock, and you realize heaven's a big place. Ooh, paradise, earth, well, it's not going to hold everyone. That theory's kind of long gone with Rutherford. And you start putting all this together. Well, pretty soon you're putting together this book, and you can write a story on what you're dealing with, right? Did I go to heaven and back in one night? Of course not. I wrote a book, but it's based, there's all kinds of real events in there. And it's an interesting story. A lot of times when we write, we're revealing our inner self. So through that book, I was revealing my inner self. And at the time I was writing the book, I had not looked at religion for 8 years. I walked out of the JW organization and I never wanted to look at another religion or church. I was just done with it all. I wanted to look at something new. So I started looking at a little bit of the indigenous stuff. I kept going up to the Northwest Territories, or the high Arctic of Canada. And my eyes were opened up there. I got to realize that, hey, those guys got the whole Bible crunched into one piece of paper. And they call it the 13 Rules of Life. And I wrote a book about that. It's amazing. One piece of paper. That's all you need. I'm going to share that in my channel coming up under books. And we can't get everything out on the platform instantly, but the channel is growing. We have a lot of videos on it. And so if you want to make videos, you want to get involved with ExJW TV, this is kind of a platform where people can get on. They can try some of their own talents through some shared revenue, as well as it gives the audience out there a place to go. And I remember when I first started looking online, there wasn't a lot of places to go. Lloyd Evans, Rick Farron, Kim and Mikey, you know, some of the old timers out there. We were watching this guy in the UK, The Truth Hurts. He quit. young guy who's doing some good movies. But now there's a lot of creators out there, and the ex-witness underground, Scott, he's looking after all the artists. We're hoping to get him on and get some of these artists on, and grow the channel. So let us know what you think of that, you guys, and if you think it's a good idea, I don't think we can stop it. I think it's just happening. So we're going to get into the news. What's going on in the news is mind-blowing. What's going on in Montana is really mind-blowing. Now, here's why your church will die within the next 5 years. This is just a side article. We got a bit of time here. 100,000 churches will close within a generation. Will yours be one of them? This is this is not only happening in JW.org. I'm going to put up the picture here. There it is. The churches are empty, folks. The churches are empty. We knew this was happening. I was looking for an article on this, and I didn't see it. This is interesting. These guys are saying within the next 5 years. This is yours and my. This is what's going on. People are going online. ExJW TV, ExJW. You can do anything. We have a lot of people aren't religious anymore. One guy, ExJW, wants to put an atheist kind of corner in. He's going to run some podcasts or some movies. He built some movies, nice movies. And we all know him. This guy's very educated. He used to work in Bethel. His synonym is Frank Annan. So we're talking with him right now. And I watched a few of them. They're quite interesting. So this channel will have everything. There will be a spirituality corner. Anybody that wants to talk about spirituality, here's an opportunity. So here's why your church will die within the next 5 years. 100,000 churches will close within a generation. Will yours be one of them? Dan Foster published this, Backyard Church. Let's see what Dan Foster says. He says in the next 30 years, 100,000 churches in the U.S. will shut their doors for good. This is the prediction of Reverend Mark Elston, author of The Gone for Good. So, these are all suppositions, folks. We have to take everything with a grain of salt, but I see it. Do you guys see it happening? I see this happening. Here, let's see if we can get that a little bigger. So, yeah, this is not just some pie in the sky project, he explained. 100,000 figures an estimate based on current trends in worship attendance. And in fact, the research from the faith communities today found the median congregation in the United States stood at 65 people, down from 137 2 decades ago. Yes, you could fit the average congregation on a single bus. So here it is. Here's a little chart on that. I'll pin this article to this video below at the end of it. And predicting which churches will survive, which churches will not, is a bit like reading tea leaves. However, there are certainly some qualifiable risk factors for churches backed by a raft empirical and circumstantial data. In fact, I could probably predict whether or not your church will still be around in 5, 10 years, or 30 years. We should get him to predict. I should send him an email and see what he predicts the JW.org will last. That would be interesting. Now, he says chances are high, particularly if your church exhibits one or more of these red flags. Now let's look at this. If you're JW online, in your kingdom halls, what's going on? Here's what he's saying. Your church has less than 75 adults. So does your congregation have less than 75? Well, let's start with the obvious. Does your church have less people than 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago? If so, it could have entered the church death spiral. As the pews grow emptier and the once vibrant halls echo with silence, it's a clear sign of disconnect between the church and its community, a fading engagement with its mission, and a struggle to remain relevant in a rapidly changing world. But here's a harsh truth. Declining attendance isn't solely a spiritual concern. It has practical implications too. And consider the upkeep of the building. Well, according to Christianity Today, as attendance drops below a critical threshold, fewer than 55 tithing adults, to be precise, supporting the wages of a full-time church employee, let alone maintaining the building, becomes increasingly challenging, if not impossible, putting essential ministries and the physical structure of the church at risk. So what we see happening in JW.org today, we see Kingdom Halls are being sold. One of the news we ran, I think last week, was they're turning Kingdom Halls into a cigar shop. And I think what was ironic about it is that we were, as JWs, are so against tobacco. In fact, it's a disfellowshipping offense to smoke a cigar. You can't, even though you don't puff the smoke in, you can't smoke a cigar. I've never seen a JW ever smoke a cigar, chewing tobacco, which that was kind of an old-fashioned thing. Smoking cigarettes, I know that's a no-no. I got reproved for that. It's private reproof, but it was circumstances, you know. But anyways, they demonize it. They actually demonize it. They say that the tobacco opens your mind so the demons can get in. They read me an article about that. So yeah, they're turning Kingdom Halls into tobacco cigar shops. Now, in all fairness, when you sell a building and if you let the real estate sell it, the real estate's going to open that up to sell it to anybody. You know, some of the Kingdom Halls could be churches. They could be little taverns, little bars, little clubs. Who knows? But it's just ironic that these once Kingdom Halls, you're driving by and, oh, wow, it's a cigar shop now. You know, and it looks the same structure, same Kingdom Hall, same parking lot. You know, they just have a new sign up, cigar shop. Come in and try our latest Cubans. Uh-oh, you can't have them in the U.S., can you? But us Canadians, we can have Cubans up here. I wouldn't know. I'm not a cigar smoker. Anyways, according to Christianity Today, as attendance drops below a critical threshold, fewer than 55 tithing adults to support these churches. So yeah, that's what I was saying. Jehovah's Witnesses are selling off their Kingdom Halls. What are they doing? Because the attendance is getting lower. They're making people drive further, hour perhaps, and they're melding Kingdom Halls together, or they're building these convention centers. These convention centers have 4 Kingdom Halls in them, and they have these sliding walls, and they can have conventions in them, and maybe they can get 4 Kingdom Halls attending. They've done that here in Canada, and that's what they're doing. They get the rank and files build these things for free. All the other churches out there, they contract this stuff out, and everyone gets paid. If you're a Mormon, you get paid. You run a contract company, you bid on the project, and you get paid. Not Jehovah's Witnesses. It's all free. I think this is going to bite them, JW.org. I think there can be counterclaims. You leave the org, you could put a counterclaim in for your work you did. They're selling these properties for millions of dollars. You know, they'll buy just the land, the raw land, for hundreds, 100,000 or whatever, a couple 100,000, whatever. And they'll get the land outside of the city, you know, in the outskirts where it's cheaper. And then they get all of us, because I did this for 30 years, building their buildings for free. And then after they wear the building out 30 years later, they'll sell it, millions of dollars. They only paid pennies for the property, but you guys built it all for free. So that's big business. I think that's coming to an end. I don't think JWs want to do that anymore. They don't have time. It's harder to make a living nowadays. So that's another subject. But here's what's happening. Half-empty pews, unkept gardens, half-baked sermons from well-meaning but overworked staff or volunteers. These are sure appearances that appearances aren't everything, but it's hard to ignore the stench of death that lingers around a church in its twilight. Well said. Yeah, sure, appearances aren't everything, but the stench of death. So if you look at your Kingdom Hall, folks, what's going on is, are people rushing to the Kingdom Hall for the work bee on the weekend to mow the grass and to do all those things? or elders having to do it now because the younger generation couldn't have time to do it. What's going on? I appreciate it in the comments. So now take a look around your church. Is there an over-representation of senior citizens? Does it feel like you're just 2 or 3 funerals away from losing a critical mass? Well said. The baby boomers aren't going to be around forever. And sure, having older church members is important for bringing wisdom and experience to the community, but it also poses significant challenges, particularly when it comes to sustainability and growth. You know, like you need the young people. You know, you have all these old folks there. They have old fogey pensions, you know. And here in Canada, we can't get that until you're 65. I don't know about other places. I guess if you see, and this is the problem in the Jehovah's Witness community. No one's in any high-paid class of work. And if you did, you were taught to give it all to the Watchtower. And then when you're old, because Armageddon should have happened a long time ago. I thought it was going to happen in 2000 or around there. I thought maybe in around there. And then when 2012 came and the Mayan calendar said it was going to happen, then I thought for sure something was going to happen. Maybe there's an overlap, I thought for sure. You asked my wife, she met me around then, and I left, but I still had this stuff in my head, and I was planning these big gardens, huge gardens. Like I had enough potatoes to feed a neighborhood for a year. I don't know why I was doing it. I had sprinkler systems. I was doing all, and I had no plans of selling these potatoes, but I thought the end was coming. That's what happens in our JW mind. It's cognitive dissonance, among a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah. A lot of JWs end up with schizophrenia. 5 times more likely to have schizophrenia. I know. I have members of my own family, JWs, still JWs, schizophrenia. When you're raised in it, this could be something. Don't be surprised if you have to deal with some of that. And so JWs will tell you that schizophrenia, they will lead you to believe maybe you're having demon problems. You see, this is the problem. And I said this last night on our face-to-face with the Watchtower and all our people online. This is our unanimous thing, is throw that damn elders book out. The elders are not doctors. They're not family practitioners. They don't know psychology. The elders, I would admit, probably know the Watchtower's version of the scriptures. They're fluent on that. But they're trying to make these guys professional counselors, legal advisors now. Any civil legal matter, you got to handle it in the Watchtower, in the elder body. These guys are not lawyers. You can't bring a lawyer in. You see, there's so many things about this religion in that elders book. It's just got to go away. We cover the elders book on this show every Monday night. And we're going to cover it until it's done. We're just started. It's an eye opener, and it does say that CSA is a crime. It is in there. So they put it in. They had to put it in. You see, the governments are making them change their ways. They call it New Light, but it's just that they got spanked really hard in court or lost status in Norway. That's a start. Now Lithuania. Japan, we're going to talk about that next. Okay, what else is happening? Why does it matter? Churches with older pastors exhibited minimal growth trends with the likelihood of significant expansion virtually non-existent. Additionally, these congregations struggled to attract families with children, adolescents, young adults to their service, replenish the ranks, existing members, the transition into retirement from active church involvement. With the internet, no one wants to go to church, folks. Let's just face it, it's the internet. Now, when a church skews towards an older demographic, it grapples with some significant hurdles. Older members, often fixated incomes, may find it challenging to contribute financially as they once did. That's what I was trying to say. And additionally, they might not be as actively engaged in volunteering in the church programs, activities, going out mowing the grass. Like, who wants to mow the grass when you can't even mow your own grass, right? Exposing the church to a workforce shortage. Who wants to be bothered? People want to enjoy their retirement a bit too. Okay, moreover, as time passes, natural attrition within the Asian demographic further compounds the decline, leading to a gradual decrease in the overall attendance. And this decline is particularly concerning when just opposed with flailing church attendance among younger generations, who are interestingly drawn to personalized spiritual practices outside traditional religious structures. Yeah, so they're comparing the decline with the church attendance to the younger generation. Yeah, it's happening in JW org. It's the same thing all over. However, if you dice it, if your church is disproportionately overrepresented by older people, that's JW org, right? They all still believe they're going to heaven. A few of them, anyways, but they believe in all that. The younger people kind of are smarter. They know this is the earth can't hold it all. Like, come on, they know this. You start counting memorial numbers, folks. They've far surpassed 144,000 going to heaven long ago. You see, this religion was designed for Rutherford, his day, and it was supposed to end in 1945. That's how he designed it. It didn't. So they made it, they overlapped generations and overlapping. They tried to make it go on, but now they have a problem. This religion has a problem. They're trying to be a Jesus religion overnight. That's what I see happening. Now, here's the other, there's not much more here, I don't think. Oh, there is quite a bit more. Anyways, I think we're going to move on to the news. So as you can see, the church is changing. Your church is too involved in politics. You see, I was hoping they'd touch on CSA. I think the CSA is just killing churches that don't have a good reporting mechanism. All the churches that have family that send people to professional places if they have problems, like if you need family counseling and your church doesn't have professional family counseling, you can't offer it, right? It's like a university degree to get that level. You can't offer it. You shouldn't be offering it, but JW org does. And you see, that's where they're being held liable. They're going to be sued. Their arses are going to get sued off them because they've been posing as family counselors, and they're not. And they have this lame elders book that is just full of mistakes, and that's why they're getting sued. So we're going to get into some of these suits, these lawsuits. This is from Watching Watchtower. Thanks to Watching Watchtower. We're going to cover 3 articles. The first one is Japan. Japan, 3 groups are requesting further investigation into Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's right here. So you see, if you've been following the Japan news, it started out with kind of a little investigation. Now, this is going out a full-blown investigation. This is going to be like the Ark in Australia. So it's going to be, it's recognized by the government now that, yeah, we have to investigate. Here it is, Religious Second Generation Abuse Investigation. 3 organizations formed by those involved submit a request to the Children and Family Affairs Agency, requesting a larger scale investigation. So that's what's happening in Japan. This article, I'll pin all this. So it talks about this. It goes into some detail when they started this report. We covered a lot of it. And they're talking about the importance of getting this going. So this is the first time that, this is what this fellow is saying. This is the first time that a national survey like this has been conducted. So I think it's a great step forward. And I wonder if you could do this continuously. So it sounds like they're asking Japan to continuously investigate these CSA cases and have a program there to help children. And they actually talk about that right here. We go down in the article. Well, maybe they don't talk about it there. I guess that might be the end of the article. But let's just look at this. It says, regarding the investigation into the abuse of the second generation religious people, those involved in the second generation religion have requested a large scale investigation. The report was released. This report was released in April. the first time the country conducted an investigation into child abuse based on parents' religious beliefs. On the 16th, 3 groups formed by second-generation religious people visited the Child and Families Agency and submitted a request for a large-scale investigation. Nana Nasunu, representative of Snowdrop General Incorporated Association, says, "This is the first time that a national survey like this has been conducted, so I think it's a great step forward, and I wonder if you could keep this going continuously." And he also pointed out it's important to create an environment, there's the words I wanted, an environment where it's easy for children to raise their voices, saying there are considerable hurdles for children to raise their voices. And definitely in the Jehovah's Witness religion, children can't raise their voices. In fact, children have been disfellowshipped for raising their voices. So this is all happening in Japan, and it's just a matter of time. So we're going to look at this subpoena that has been put out by the Montana court case. And it's interesting here. The guy on the subpoena here is Gary, you see it here, Gary Breaux and Allen Shuster. They perjured themselves in court. We're going to look at that. That's the first part we're going to look at. We're going to follow through on watching Watchtower. I have the whole court thing right here. You know, we can go through the whole court thing if you wanted, but it's easier to go through it. Watchtower broke it down nicely. I'm just going to go through. This is dated May, the 14th day of May. This is just the other day, folks. Susan Waters, she's the judge. She's sending JW Org out on the waters. I'll tell you that. Okay, so I'll have this pinned. We're going to look at that. And the next one we're going to look at is Montana, Sanctions, Perjury, and Jehovah's Witness and their lawyers. So we're going to go through this kind of twice from a different angle. But before we do that, I want to say Gary Breaux. We're going to be reading about him. You're going to get to see how he is, Gary Breaux. You can get to know people through these court documents, how they respond to the courts. But prior to going in there, I want to play a little reminder video about Gary Breaux. Let me see if I can pull this up. There it is. And yeah, I'll put that on full screen, and you guys can see what how he talks.
And what table can we trust? The table surrounded by our future kings, the governing body. Future kings, the governing body. By our future kings, the governing body. Our governing body. They never lie or deceive us. They never lie or deceive us. We can have absolute trust in the governing body. We can have absolute trust in the governing body. They meet all the criteria that Jesus gave us to identify them by.
My mic's off. I thought I turned it on. So that's good old Gary Breaux. We can have full trust. Governing body's not going to lie. And good old Gary Breaux. So he's like the spokesman, right? So that's why Montana, they're kind of pulling him in. He's one of these spokesmen for the governing body. So this is interesting. The governing body never lies, but here, Gary Breaux, I'll lie for you guys. let me tell all the lies so I can say that you guys never lie, but I'll be the liar. But I'm not saying I don't lie. I'm just saying they don't lie. What a tangled web these guys are weaving. Okay, let's get into it. This is a lot of fun, actually. Here we are. We're going to put this up. This is Gary Breaux. And let's go right to here. Yeah, here it is. Adrian Rowland, the plaintiff, and Jamie Schultz. Okay. So these plaintiffs amended a reply brief in support of motions for sanctions re-depositions of Gary Breaux and Allen Shuster. So here we are. Watchtower and its lawyers who have repeatedly and intentionally subverted plaintiffs' ability to obtain discoverable evidence and have a trial on the merits attempt to characterize plaintiffs' motions for sanctions, depositions of Gary Breaux and Allen Shuster. So, folks, this is right from the court papers. It'll be attached. You can pull the PDF up yourself. And as an end run to this is right in their court documents. I find this like an email. It looks like an email, but this is right in the court documents. This is how the judges are looking at this stuff. So the Watchtower New York's thing here, plaintiffs would certainly have preferred unobstructive discovery of the facts and the truth. Watchtower New York's effort to couch itself as the victim of unfair motion practice is undermined by its conduct. Plaintiffs present motion is about one thing, Watchtower New York's discovery obstruction. So they're calling Watchtower, this discovery is obstruction to justice, is how they're looking at Watchtower here. I'll keep reading through it. Now, Gary Breaux and Allen Shuster as an end run to a trial based on the merits. So the Watchtower New York's response. Plaintiffs would certainly have preferred unobstructed discoveries of facts and truth. Watchtower New York's effort to couch itself as a victim of unfair motion practice is undermined by its conduct. So, so this is about obstruction. Oh, look at this. Now after, right here, oops, I didn't want to do that. Oh, right here. Now after, you know, if you can see my cursor there. Now after, oh, I gotta pause the damn thing. Okay, now after they perjured themselves on the basic matters of present tense knowledge. This is what the courts are saying. Now after they perjured themselves on the basic matters of present tense knowledge, Watchtower tells the court it is because they cannot remember things. So here Gary Breaux can't remember things. That's their argument. Okay. The court's going to buy into this stuff. Like you can go to court and just say, I can't remember. That's what Watchtower's lawyers is what they're telling them. Okay, so Breaux testifying that he was not experienced with and had limited knowledge of the U.S. Branch Committee, which he has been a member of for the last 17 years. And then that it had nothing to do with his memory. See, this is Gary Breaux. He gets up. We don't lie. We tell the truth. But in this court document, he says he has no experience with the U.S. Branch Committee, and he's been a member of it for 17 years. This is in the court documents, folks. Shuster testified that he was not sure. He was not sure. These people working for the governing body, they can't remember and they're not sure. Do they have Alzheimer's? Are they too old? Do they need to get checked? Or are they simply lying? I'll let you guys decide. Well, Shuster testified that he was not sure who he reported to at the service department when he has reported to Gary Breaux since at least 2012 and reports to him today but it had nothing to do with his memory. He wasn't sure. You see, folks, what's going on in the courts? Watchtower just gets up and, first of all, they shred all the records. Then they get up and lie. Why? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see how far they go with this. This is in the court documents. So they come here, and the service department's authority to use the Watchtower's letterhead had nothing to do with his memory. He didn't know that they had that on their thing. The letterhead. Couldn't have been us. Shuster pretended not to understand what the words appointed and policies mean. Had nothing to do with his memory. Folks, this is word for word. No kidding. This is like reading some some of those news things that they're half lies, This is a court document. So Shuster pretends, the court sees it, they're saying it, he's pretending not to understand what the words appointed and policies mean. You see, the courts are going to hold Watchtower responsible for this. And that's what's happening because he couldn't remember. So the plaintiff's motion does not seek sanctions for poor memories. The ladies that are suing them, no. It seeks sanctions for an intentional effort to obstruct the deposition testimony that began well before the deposition started and continue through the depositions. This is how Watchtower goes to court. So Watchtower routinely designates both men as its representatives. And this is all in the court. Watchtower New York's lawyers have always asserted control over Shuster and Breaux when Watchtower New York determined it was in its interest to do so. And for instance, we're getting to the next page. For instance, according to Watchtower New York's lawyers, they met with Shuster and Breaux about the plaintiff's proposed depositions. They determined what they knew and then responded to the plaintiff's counsel on Shuster and Breaux's behalf. So what's going on here? Who's lying? Well, we know who's lying. Watchtower drafted and filed briefs on behalf of Shuster and Breaux in an effort to stop their depositions. And then Watchtower lawyers demanded that the plaintiffs serve notice for Shuster and Breaux's depositions. Then, without explanation, in June of 2023, Watchtower asserted for the first time that Margaret Corrigal represented Shuster and Breaux and fellow witnesses Jean Smalley, and the plaintiffs would need to contact her to arrange depositions. November, this is an indirect conflict with June 15th letter from Watchtower's counsel stating that Corrigal was representing all three men as of June 2023. Tell me, when did you learn Miss Corrigal was going to be your lawyer? A, I guess 2 weeks ago. Question, okay, how did you learn that? Answer, I think that a brother in the legal department set up the appointment. Question, Mr. Taylor, he may be one who informed me that Margaret would, Miss Corrigal, okay, be here. Corrigal noticeably absent in any indication of who did. Watchtower's effort to distance itself from Corrigal, Shuster, and Breaux is part of its litigation playbook where it intentionally hides facts and relies on the lack of transparency for plausibility deniability. Example, you cannot sanction us because we did not retain attorney Corrigal, but we were not going to tell you who did. You see, folks, what's going on? This is a court document. This is how the judges are looking at it. We're not reading some news column that some news editor wrote up and gave us personal opinion. This is the court's document. Okay, well, far more than the what is the message there? I don't know. Okay, how much did Corrigal of Watchtower's counsel, either in-house or litigation, coordinate on this for obstructing Shuster and Breaux's depositions? Smalley wasn't even informed about Corrigal until 2 weeks before his deposition, which is about 6 months after the plaintiffs learned about her apparent involvement in the case. Watchtower's attempt to distance itself from Corrigal, Shuster, and Breaux is not supported by evidence or the record, which occurred during the depositions. And Watchtower's pre-deposition obstruction defies common sense and has no evidentiary support. And if the court determines that Shuster and Breaux failed to testify honestly as required under the applicable law, the record supports a conclusion that this conduct can and should be attributed to Watchtower. So there you go. This is interesting. If Breaux, their guy that's getting up, standing up for the governing body and say we never lie, if they nail him, they're saying the Watchtower is as guilty as he is. That's interesting. Okay, Watchtower does not attempt to defend this conduct. This is an admission that the plaintiff's motion for sanction regarding this bad faith conduct is well taken and should be granted. And that's it. So that's that. They're not getting away with anything in this court system, this court case. These guys, Watchtower. They're, I think Judge Waters is going to hang these guys out to dry. Now, let's look at the next one on Montana. It's very dry in here. So there's a heat register there. Blows air at me. Now, this next one is Montana perjury. Let's see what happens on this one. Okay. Now this case is Tracy Kakirk and Camelia Mapley. So see, there's two different problems we're dealing with here. Breaux, those guys are getting looked at, the Watchtower, very closely. Breaux, Gary Breaux, Shuster. Now, sanctions or obstruction deposition during the depositions. Imagine this, a religious organization dealing with obstruction and deception. You see the headlines up there? Now, federal courts have long recognized that providing false deposition testimony constitutes perjury and, in effect, constitutes fraud on the court. So this could be headlined as fraud. This is what's going on, fraud. This is all going down for Watchtowers, fraud, perjury, and deception. If you're in the Watchtower, look at this. This is the religion. This is what's going on in Montana. You'll be able to hit the links in the descriptions below. Pull this all up yourself. Read it. Now, here's what they're doing. They're failing to disclose material. Information can constitute perjury. That's what they're doing. They're playing. We ran some videos on it. They're going silent. Silence means consent. That's what my mother used to say anyways. So the courts are looking at it as the same way. You can go silent all you want. You're a corporation and you have to provide answers. And then they get into court. Breaux says, I can't remember. He was on the committee for 17 years, but he can't remember. I think they should, the court should take that guy and put him in a psych home. Or are these guys just liars? You see, they're just, the courts know they're just big liars. They're saying it right here. False testimony may be also inferred when circumstantial evidence suggests a witness made a knowing misrepresentation. That's like saying, I can't remember. Okay, let's move on. Yet when asked what the committee does, he testified he was not experienced in that. He had only limited knowledge. This was a lie meant to obstruct plaintiffs' understanding of the U.S. branch committee's role in the overseen by the governing body. And that same document sets forth the branch committee's duties and responsibilities. And Breaux knew all of this, but chose to be dishonest. Chose to be dishonest. It's right in the court papers here, folks. I'm not making this stuff up. This constitutes perjury. It's right there. Okay, carry forth. Watchtower and its witnesses is particularly clear in Shuster's testimony regarding the governing body's role in the elder appointment process. As this court has already noted, The governing body has the ultimate authority to bar a person from serving in a position of authority. Absolutely. And Shuster knows all of this and previously testified that the appointment of local elders was done by representatives of the governing body. And second, Schuster's eventual answer was contrary to his previous testimony on the topic and was plainly dishonest. This constitutes perjury. Now, Schuster's dishonesty about the organization's policy for handling child sexual abuse was also shocking. The same man who has been designated as an expert and twice designated as the person most qualified to testify to the organization's policy for handling child sex abuse, this case that he did not know of any Jehovah's Witness policies relating to the handling of allegations of child sex abuse. But the organization said he was the most qualified. So he went so far as to assert that he did not understand what the word policy meant. It reminds me of the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus was arrested in the garden. Soldiers took him, and the apostles, Peter. Jesus said, "Before a cock crows twice, you'll disown me 3 times." And that's what's going on here. This guy's going to court. I have had nothing to do with that. Now, in Peter's case, it was there was kind of a riot going out, and they said that's the guy. He was with them. And Peter says, I don't know nothing about that guy. And I think he used profanity. The scriptures even said that he swore. And that's what's going on here. JW Org is swearing falsely in court. It's going to come back to bite them. Now, the litigation position of a lawyer that is contravention of the facts in Schuster's prior sworn testament. So they don't have, this is what they're talking about, these policies. He did not understand what the word policy meant, and he does. That's what he told the court. And that Jehovah's Witnesses do not have policies is the litigation position of a lawyer that is contravention of the facts at Schuster's prior sworn statement. So they do have policies. It's all in the Elders book. If you guys want to see the policies, I cover the Elders book Monday nights. Now, designated previously by defendants as an expert, the person's knowledge and their decision to testify dishonestly. So they're just showing how the court's handling this. So Watchtower New York and Watchtower Pennsylvania have gone to great lengths to withhold this information from the plaintiffs and doubled down at Schuster's and Breaux's depositions. For example, the corporate defendants claimed Schuster and Breaux are so important and busy with the organization's corporation, it is inconceivable that Apex witnesses who have effectively operated the organization's corporations for decades know nothing about those same corporations. The court can certainly... So you see, they're trying to hide behind corporations, folks. That's Watchtower's game. And they have all these multiple corporations, stacks of companies, and they're trying to keep the courts away from the governing body. Although the Elders book shows that the governing body tells the elders that they have to listen, obey, and be blessed. That's the first and most important thing. It's more important than the Bible. You just seek the Bible, but you obey the governing body. Now, the Supreme Court has, without exception, allowed sanctions for false statements and perjury. Perjury strikes at the heart of the integrity of the judicial system, as one court applied noted. And manufactured evidence is merely excluded while their lawsuit continues. Litigants must know that the courts are not open to persons who seek justice by fraudulent means. Could you imagine being part of a religion, and this is the headlines in the courts, folks? Your religion is a fraud. If it's a fraud in court, it's a fraud in real life. Let's be clear. Dismissing plaintiff's case for providing false and misleading testimony and discovery responses because it hindered and impeded the orderly and speedy progression of the case, and permitting him to profit from his deceit by going to trial to be impeached by his misconduct was inappropriate. Unparalleled knowledge of this obviously was aided by the conduct of Watchtower New York, retained lawyers Corrigal and Taylor. Their obstruction and deception violated the law and impeded plaintiffs' abilities to have a fair trial by depriving them of evidence. I'm wondering if this Corrigal and Taylor, I'd have to do some research, if that's Brumley, if that's the legal firm that Brumley was working for, or how the Watchtower does that. Do they have just their own legal people in-house? I'll have to do some more research. If anybody has the answers, let us know. So plaintiffs will be requesting such relief as part of subsequent motion, seeking relief. This is the two ladies, that are pushing this. So they're going to seek relief because here it is, folks. Watchtower New York has a 4-year pattern. This is, we talk about making a mistake or slipping up. No, this is a 4-year pattern. And if we use the elders book against them, we see a pattern of deceit. You see, folks, we see a pattern of deceit here. And so the elders, the Watchtower JW org needs to be disfellowshipped. We need to disfellowship them because there's a pattern of deceit. And it's boiling right back down to Breaux and the governing body. This is as clear as day that what happens in court is happening in real life in the organization. This is a pattern. It's a pattern of deception and discovery obstruction, which includes perpetuating the dishonest testimony of Shuster and Breaux, just to hide the fact that Watchtower is responsible for how they run the congregations. They're lying. So the delay it caused in taking the Shuster and Breaux depositions, as well as all other costs and fees relating to bad faith, they're going to have to pay for it all, including but not limited to the cost of travel, the court reporter, the videographer costs, the attorney fees for all the time spent preparing and traveling and taking these depositions. You see, folks, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, this is where your contributions are going. This is why your kingdom halls are being sold. So now, during their depositions about their knowledge of the organization's policies for handling child sex abuse during the relevant time period, that's what you're paying for. And the courts are going to, all over, they're going to start charging. This is a precedent. This is a precedent. Shuster testified dishonestly during his deposition about his knowledge of how the local elders were appointed during the relevant time period, and elders to keep such reports of records confidential, and any other relief that the court deems justly to remedy the discovery abuses of the issue. So that's kind of the end of it there. Yeah, Shuster testified dishonestly. Well, Watchtower should be ashamed of themselves for having this kind of a reputation, in my opinion. They should be completely ashamed. I would be ashamed to be part of a religion. I'm so glad I'm not, but could you imagine if you were standing on the street corners? You don't know any of this stuff. You're just a Jehovah's Witness. You wake up in the morning, you're pioneering, you grab your cart and you wheel it out and you go to that street corner that you're licensed to stand on. And I think it is. They have to get permits to stand on those street corners. So they're standing there and all these people are walking by and they read stuff. They read this stuff they're reading the news. People are following this stuff. They say, what about this in Montana? Well, we don't know nothing about that. There's false news. So then they pull up the tablet and they say, we have an article here on misinformation. It's all misinformation. And that's what Watchtower is doing. They're using misinformation as a deflection. And we'll look at that. Just I'll show you this here briefly. And it's right on their headlines. Misinformation right here, flooded with misinformation. So that's where they're going to direct you to, misinformation. They're going to call all of this misinformation. We've seen it on comments.
And that's like the 6th or 7th time now they featured that.
Yeah, this here comic book, this is like the 6th or 7th time they featured it on their front page, misinformation. MJ has done a really good video on this, misinformation, MJ. And then they now they're pushing all their Jesus movies for this summer. So they want to be a Christian religion, but are they? Well, I'll tell you what, Christians, if you're following the Bible, you can't lie like that in court. So this religion from the top, we won't play it again, but we played that Gary Breaux saying we don't lie, the governing body has never lied. Well, folks, I hope we've given you the rest of the story here, and that's what this is about, is getting you guys to the rest of the story. This is a religion that's not losing members because things are declining. That article we read, this is a religion that's losing members because of all the lies, all the cover-ups. You see, it's one thing to have a problem in a religion and say, well, we recognize that we had to make a lot of changes, and so now this is how we're going to do things to rectify things. We're going to have to pay out some of these people that are hurt, at least help them with their trauma bills and help them with their recovery program, right? No. You see, this religion wants nothing to do with that. We're not responsible. It was the individuals that permeated our organization, got in there and were pedophiles. So they can be sued. And you can sue the whole congregation, elders too, because they didn't do their job right. But we're just a printing company. We don't direct people. We don't even own anything. We have no affiliation in Montana. And you see, when they say that about Montana, they're saying that about the whole world. So it tells me that Watchtower wants to divorce themselves, Watchtower, New York. They want to divorce themselves of all you guys out there, but they're in a little bit of a pickle. They own all the buildings. They made all of you guys sign all your buildings over to the Watchtower all over the world. Watchtower, New York is just filthy rich. And then Canada here, all our money, all our donations go down to Watchtower. We go on to Canadian charity. Watchtower has no transparency. They get F's and X's because we don't know where the money does. But the tracing does say so many million, 43 million goes down to New York every year. Something like that. I don't know if it's 43 million. So what's happening is Watchtower is taking all the grant money, all the charity money from our lotteries. They have their hands out everywhere they can get their hands out. And they'll take dirty money. They have their own dirty money in-house. They have stocks and bonds in what they call the Henrietta Fund. And there's videos all over on that. Just plug it in, the Henrietta Fund. And their big claim, they even have a letter they sent all their bodies of elders, telling all their bodies of elders what this Henrietta Fund was about. After we, the apostates, it wasn't me, but it was some of the older ones that exposed this. And they exposed the Henrietta Fund, and they had to send letters out to all their elders and say, this is what it is. And what we read the letter on one of our videos, and it said that, well, we had this as a gift. It was given to us as a gift. And it was a gift from Jehovah. The Henrietta Fund is involved in the stock market that builds warplanes, military equipment, Lockheed Martin and stuff like that. We thought it was into Pornhub, but that was fake news. We'll admit it. Us apostates will admit it. I was hooped. That wasn't our fake news. It wasn't ExJW fake news, but it was some company that was making fun of Disney World. You see, because Watchtower has stock into Disney World. And so there was a funny put out. It looked like a real news article from Canada. And they said that Pornhub, because I think Pornhub's Canada, and they just got bought out by Disney World. We thought it was real. All of us thought it was real. We all knew that Watchtower had stock into Disney World, right? The Magic Kingdom. Get that, the Magic Kingdom. So maybe that's where they're getting some of their movie production ideas. Watchtower is a worldly company, folks. It's a business. It's a worldly business. Think about it as a worldly company. And it is not Christ-like how they like to portray. They're using the whole Bible thing. There's money to be made in the Bible. There's money to be made printing Bible. And I'll tell you where there's some big money, the Holocaust. Huge bucks. We've been doing videos on that, how much money is getting paid out to Watchtower because of the Holocaust. And that's big all over the world. They have to build Holocaust museums. Watchtower is getting millions from the Holocaust, millions and millions and millions. And they're dipping into this is all going to the Swedish, where all that gold reserve went. It's all getting divvied out all over the world, Holocaust. So Watchtower says, it's us, we're it. And they're at the bottom of the list, right? There's more homosexuals and so forth that got persecuted in Germany than Jehovah's Witnesses. But there were 16,000 Jehovah's Witnesses. They all have their hands out, all the family, but the Watchtower is doing it all. And there's millions coming in. And what's going on? They're getting it from the same fund. Here's the thing, folks. They're getting it from the same fund that the homosexuals and all of those ones that were persecuted in Germany. It's the same fund. Watchtower's got their hands in there and, it's going out. But yet then Watchtower is persecuting the homosexuals within their own religion all over the earth. But yet they're collecting from the same fund. Like to me, it's just disgusting. I don't like it. It doesn't feel right for me. And then to know the whole story, what happened with Rutherford and how he pushed those poor witnesses to commit suicide. It's happening today with the no blood policy. Jehovah's Witnesses are forced to die if they need a medical treatment involving blood. They're forcing them to die, to choose death. They take this one scripture. They don't look at the whole aspect. We have on other videos, lots of times. That one scripture. So we can take one scripture. I can take one scripture. And I can say, Watchtower, why aren't you doing this? Here's one scripture. Why aren't you doing this? Here's one scripture. You see, anybody can play that game. They've taken one scripture. It's a question mark. It says, who really is the faithful and discreet slave? Question mark. It was in Matthew 24 and 45. Question mark. It's not a prophecy. It's a question mark. Who really is the faithful and discreet slave? It says the ones that look after people. And then it goes on to say, the evil slave is the one that kicks people out onto the streets. You see, the evil slave, the Watchtower, has kicked the homosexuals out onto the street, but yet they take the same money from the Swiss bank accounts that for the Holocaust that the homosexuals get access to. So the Holocaust fund isn't partial. In fact, they said the homosexuals deserve this. The ones that have alternate, because that's just part of we're all people. We're all people. Watchtower says, no, there's sub people. We're going to kick them out in the streets in our organization. And guess what? If you don't believe what we believe, we're kicking you out too. If you have a different idea. You see, the Watchtower shuns right now. There's estimates out there that there's over a million ExJWs right now on this earth being shunned, being persecuted. You see, shunning is a form of persecution. It's like going to jail. You're jailed. You can't talk to your family and friends. Here Watchtower's collecting from the Holocaust Fund millions, but yet they're performing similar persecutions to ex-members. And you see, this is against human rights, folks. This is what we're fighting for in this channel. We have a petition on this channel in Canada where we're trying to stop the governments from treating these religions like charities. They're not charities. They're not helping our communities out. In fact, there's 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses out there that believe and idolize this governing body, and they will die for those 9 men in New York, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous. It's dangerous to all these young children growing up. This is an organization that will discipline and delete the elder if he allows his child to go to university or higher education. Folks, this is what we're paying for. Are we going to stand here and keep paying charity money to a religion that does this to our human populace and promotes this and goes door to door and goes into the school, and they teach their children to go to school and look around as everyone as the enemy? Unless you come and study with us and become one of us, you're the enemy. They're teaching the kids this. It's on all their videos, all over their website. And they teach their children to be little advertisers. They're not preachers. What are you saying? Oh, soldiers. My good wife is in the other room. Soldiers. Yeah, they're teaching the kids to be little soldiers. They have their own military. That's why they can't let you support the country military, because they have their own military. So that's what this channel's about. We're bringing to light some of the dangers of being in the watchtower, and we want to encourage everyone out there, don't get involved. If they're at your door, don't get involved. If you're disfellowshipped or shunned or whatever, and they're coming back and trying to get you back in, don't get sucked in. Don't get sucked in. It's not good for your mind. And the watchtower, well, my belief is it's going down. So why be a part of something that's going down? So what you can be a part of is there's a whole ExJW community online, and there's a lot happening online. Our online community is really growing. And I like Ricky Bobby said something good here. The organization runs a lot like an Italian mafia. It does, really. That's a really good comment. I've said that to my good wife here a couple of times. It does. All these old guys. Pressure from the family. Elders are contacting everyone. Yeah, you got to stay away. And that's the thing. It's the families that get destroyed from this religion. A religion that's good is going to build families. I have a video I haven't put out yet, but it's I'm working on it. It's on families, and Joe and Fran's show last week inspired me to do a little research on the families. And you know that, like, some of our big greatest societies were because of strong family building. You see, once we rip the family apart, it breaks the society down. This was a German thing. There was a name for it in Germany. And in some of the European countries are really strong on family building. And they go to great lengths to build a strong family up. And all over the world, it's all about the children, the next generation. You see, if we want to build a better earth, we build up our next generation, our children. The Watchtower mentality is that babies are evil. When Jesus' mentality is that be like the children. Remember when the disciples were all complaining who's the greatest? They were kind of having a little battling match. Jesus caught him. He said, be like the children. He puts children, uses the child as an example and says, emulate the child. Not Stephen Lett. He says children are evil. But Jesus says, emulate the children. So who do you believe, folks? Do you believe Stephen Lett, or do you believe Jesus? And I'm saying that to any of you out there that follow the Bible. Many people don't anymore. Now, they are performing theocratic warfare. Yes, they are. On their own members. Like, elders are beating up elders every day in that organization. It's terrible. Now, the theocratic warfare, that's a good discussion point. We talked about that. You see, they're allowed to lie in court, and it's right in their literature in the aid book that they can perform theocratic warfare. And theocratic warfare says it's okay to lie when you're they give the example of Nazi Germany. When you're hiding literature in your home and the Nazis come in and they want to know if you have any literature, you can say no. You can lie to them. So then they've taken this one step further, and they've taken it into the U.S. court system. They've taken their old theocratic warfare into the court system. It's not flying. Judge Waters won't let it fly. So I think they're done with getting away with stuff in court. That's what I think. Yeah, that's a good one. I'd like to see the files that the Watchtower has on me as well, but you can't get them. Try to get your file or a copy of your file. I don't think you can get them. There's a war going on here, a court case going on in Canada, in British Columbia in Canada here. Wall, it's the guy's name. I think he's a relative, I don't know, of the Wall in Calgary, but this is not finished. These walls, they feel like me right now, up against the wall. When you pin people against the wall and lie in court, that doesn't go good with people. Lying in court, what Watchtower has gotten away with, it's coming back on them. They want to be no part of the world. Let's make them no part of the world. Exactly. We make them not part of our world. We move on. So yeah, if you can hit a like on this YouTube, it helps. Likes. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. And thank you to Culty Talk for gifting memberships. We really appreciate that. That means a lot to us. Thanks for believing in the channel that much. And it does help. We try to put some private things on there for members only. Like I say, some of our personal, what's going on personally here. We'll share that. We're going to be going on the road here. So we do appreciate all the support. My wife and I, we don't work. we don't have any income. We've just been using all of our excesses. We've sold all of our farm machinery and stuff pretty well down. Now we have our farm up for sale. And we're going to go on the road. It hasn't sold yet, but we're going to go on the road anyways. And we can do that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's summertime. We can camp. We plan on hitting 3 main places in Canada here, the big centers. Edmonton we're going to start with. We're going to go down to Vancouver. It's a big center. There's a lot of assemblies going on down there. We're not protesting. We are inviting. This is a invitation to JWs that want to get out, to the ExJW community. And we'll have just basically our banners we showed. You'll see it on our website, now on our faceplate. What does it look like? It looks like this. Oh, I put it away. Anyways, I showed that in my other videos. When we get them here, I'll be able to show it in real life. I would think my good wife is just in the process of ordering this stuff. It doesn't take long to get it in. And so, yeah, we're going to hit Edmonton. Then we're going to go out to Vancouver. Then we plan on going out to Georgetown, Canada, in that area, Norvell. And that's where they're doing all the assemblies, like multiple assemblies all summer into the fall. Norvell, that's the biggest part of Canada is out there in that area. And that's right close to Georgetown. And that's where the Bethel is. We hope to get out there. Maybe we'll try to make some appointments with Bethel, have a talk, try to get the news involved. We're not sure. We're just riding the wave. And there are some ExJWs in the background helping us, thanks to Madeline and Christiane in Canada here. They're helping, organizing some of this with my good wife. Thanks to my good wife for all the work that she's doing. I can't believe all the work she's doing on this, but she's doing it, and she doesn't mind doing it. So, or does she? You'll have to ask her. I think she's doing really good with it. Like I say, this is like a job for us. So if we're here, if we're doing this full time, why not make it into a TV channel? And when I'm done here today, if someone wants to come on, they could. We could. If you had a video made, we could get it rolling. If you wanted to do your own live, there's ways of doing this. We're looking at a new platform that'll allow us to hook up to 30 different creators. So you can have your live going out to 30 different places around the world. This is the technology that we use as a community. We're growing. BEFREE last year, we pulled in lots of different communities. It's just going to get bigger this year. BEFREE 2024. So BEFREE 2024, don't forget, that's coming up. September 13th. Put it in your plans at the White House like last year. This is going to be a bigger event than last year. There's going to be more people. And it's a bigger event because the whole world's actually there. All of USA is there with this month. You see, September is Suicide Prevention Month in the US. And this is the month that there's other groups talking about building a better society, building better communities. So this is a good platform. It keeps the pressure on with Watchtower, and that's what's going to make changes in that group. The shunning has to go away. In my opinion, by the end of this year, shunning has to be done, or they're going to have themselves in a big pickle. Okay, folks, well, I think we're going to bring an end to our program today. I appreciate everyone that's been on with us. Yeah, COVID changed things, didn't it? And you see, I think COVID has changed things for online. A lot of people got used to going online. It's changed the world. When you think of finding Jesus in the cloud, what do they call the internet? The cloud. We're living in the time where Jesus is on the cloud. The pews are empty. The churches are empty. They're selling off dioceses to pay out CSA cases. Watchtower, they're selling off kingdom halls left and right. I think the audience is depleting. So if you have 60 people in a congregation, this big, you have all this space that you're heating and cooling, you might as well just put another congregation together and have 120 people and sell off one of the buildings. And that's what Watchtower is doing. All the churches and all the religions are doing this all over the world. So again, join us on Discord. I know that, thanks for Culty Talk for putting that up. Discord is a community that's like your live that you're on right now, but it's all day long. So you can go into Discord. They share things. There's all kinds of things happening. It's not a scary place to go. It's just you load it on your thing and you get a link and you sign into it. And when you come into Discord, Culty Talk put the link there. You get in and you'll get into your, where is it? You come into the landing area. You come into this landing area and everyone will say hi to you. It's just like being on the live, kind of. Well, it is the same. And people are in there from this community right on the chat here. You'll see the same people in there. And then you come into there, there's a creator community. Guess what? Creators only. You'll see Aposta Babe, Linda James. There's some of her stuff. You'll see ExJW Karen Saunders. She's brand new out there. Karen's doing some great work and she has a great story. If you haven't heard of her, subscribe to her, get to know her. It takes a lot to be an apostate, and you can come on backstage here and talk to the apostates. You might have ideas for them. Here's ExJW MJ, and he's doing a fabulous job. He started out living in his car. The guy was kicked out. He was living in his car. He started his channel out in his car, and now he's running a channel. He's got his own place. He's got a family, and he's doing a fabulous job in the community. So we have Fixing My Faith, we have stuff going on here. My good wife is always putting stuff in there. We got Joe and Fran Garino, Your Outside Story right here. And Mellorite with Nate. And he says, follow me in my efforts to make lives and things better through helping others, rescuing wildlife, fabrication, welding, CAD design, and 3D printing. This guy's amazing. His channel's amazing. ExJW, check him out. Ruby Quinn is one of our greatest New York newscasters. She's out there casting news. She's doing a fabulous job. She was on our show last night, just giving the Watchtower what they need to hear. Thanks, Ruby, for all your hard work. And Witness Underground, Scott, he's doing a great job. He's pulling all of the ExJW community together, the talent, the singers. He has movies on the go. So here's a guy you can get to know backstage. And if you have any ideas, he'd love to hear from you. So yeah, there's a lot going on. There's birthdays, there's general chat. This is a community, folks. This is a community for everyone to be a part of, and it doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is click that link and join up and get to know people. There's a venting room there. You can do two-way voice. You can talk like a telephone. You can talk through your computer. And there's a venting room. There's calls that come in the middle of the night, and people are there to take them because they're on. You know, the Earth is a big place. The clock turns when it's night here, it's day there. And there's people from different parts of the Earth on this Discord. So it's really a great program. Thanks again to all you guys that are out there helping to grow the ExJW community. So that brings an end to our program, folks. Thanks again. And to close the program today, we're not going to give you any governing body talks. What do we have here? This is a good show, Facebook. Give that to you today. How about a dance? Here's what's going on. The protest is coming up. We'll give you a protest dance. BEFREE 2024. Now on this little closing, I have 2023, but ignore that. It's 2024. They have a new website coming out. We'll let you guys know when it's here. But until next time, folks, keep living your day with love. Bye for now.